Are you looking for the best computer speakers? In this video, we will look at some of the best computer speakers on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Number 5. If you have a small table like me, you might find it hard to find speakers that don't take up too much space. Well, Creative's Pebble V3 are a pair of small, stylish speakers that don't even cost that much but can pump out music at a pretty loud volume. They come in a small rectangular box, which is the first indication of just how tiny these speakers are. You get the speakers, along with some undetachable cables connecting the left and right speakers and a power cable that terminates in a USB-C plug. There's also a USB-C to USB-A adapter if your computer or laptop only has USB-A ports. My biggest gripe with the speakers has to do with the length of the power cable. The cable is connected to the right speaker, and it's only 1.2 meters in length. That means that there's no way I can connect the speaker to my desktop setup since my tower is on my left and the cable is too short to run to the back where my USB-C port is if I want the speakers to sit on my table. As a result, I had to set up the speakers close to the case, to the side of my monitors. This means I could only test them out for relaxed music listening sessions and not for gaming or other activities where I need to face my screens. That being said though, I think the Pebble V3 is honestly very impressive. Although the sound is clear and detailed for its size, I do feel that music with airy vocals does tend to feel a bit compressed. There's Creative's clear dialogue audio processing in these, and I found that for music, the main vocals do tend to sound clearer. However, if you're listening to music where there's a lot of background vocalizing going on, the difference between the two can be pretty stark and a bit disconcerting. There's a gain switch at the underside of the right speaker too, which is pretty interesting, but I generally just kept it turned to high since my computer can support the power draw. There's definitely a noticeable bump in volume when the gain is turned to high, so there's that. An older laptop might not have the necessary 10W port, in which case, I'd actually suggest plugging the speakers into a wall power adapter and connecting via a 3.5mm cable to the aux port on the speaker or using the Bluetooth functionality. That's right, there's Bluetooth on these too, and it's definitely convenient if you're looking to use these to play music off your phone since it won't really be possible to do it over a 3.5mm jack since most phones nowadays have scrapped it. At louder volumes, there is a bit of distortion, so I'd recommend keeping to around 70% volume at the most. The bass on these has a good amount of thump, although it can get a bit muddy at times. Latency is pretty good though. There were no audio sync issues when watching videos on my phone, so I'd expect most games to work pretty well over Bluetooth too. Honestly, there isn't all that much to say about these. Considering that they're just $59, these are great speakers if you want some extra volume and oomph instead of using your laptop or monitor's built-in speakers. They sound decent, can get pretty loud, and best of all, they take up very little space on a desk. More information and purchase options for the Creative Pebble V3, $59, can be found on Creative's website. Number 4. For basic audio, cheap isn't always bad. A pair of $25 computer speakers can provide decent playback. Take the Creative Pebble, our current top pick for budget speakers, which comes in at $20 and can stand toe-to-toe with some models twice its cost. But cheap speakers have physical limitations. You generally can't create the same sound as more expensive alternatives with less expensive materials and a smaller footprint. As you go up in price and size, you should expect a richer audio experience. And the Edifier R1280Ts, which sits at the high end of the budget price spectrum at $100, largely delivers that. These 42W bookshelf speakers aren't computer speakers by design. They connect to each another with typical speaker wires and require an RCA to 3.5mm cable to plug them into a PC. One is included in the box. Down the road, you can connect these to a compatible receiver as part of a broader audio setup, if you so choose. But you don't need anything beyond these speakers, since they have a preamplifier built in. You can pull the R1280T right out of the box, plug it into your PC in an outlet, and immediately hear the benefit of using speakers 4 times the size of the Creative Pebble. Bass is strong and smooth on these at higher volumes, something smaller speakers can't pull off, and these speakers can go loud. The R1280T easily fills a bedroom at moderate loud volume and can still push further. They're not immune to distortion. If you like to blast your music or you've got a penchant for small house parties, these won't be up to the task. But as computer speakers positioned within 2 or 3 feet of you, you can crank them up pretty high without issues for the quality of the audio through these speakers. Everything gets a fuller, warm finish, including voices and video calls. On default settings, the balance between the lows, mids, and highs isn't as even as I prefer. The bass slightly overwhelms the mids and highs. In songs with a lot going on, not every element comes through crisply. Fortunately, you can adjust the treble and bass separately with the 2 adjustable knobs on the side of the right speaker. With some fiddling, I was able to bring the mids and highs more to the foreground without compromising those pleasing lows. Performance for the R1280T also depends on where the speakers are placed at your desk. For the best experience, you want them at ear level. When they're below that, which can happen when you put them directly on the desk, sound coming out of them becomes hollow and thin. It can take a little bit of thought to figure out where they should go, however. They take up a fair amount of room, with each speaker measuring 5.8 W by 9.2 H by 7.7 D inches, and they're also weighty. I ended up positioning them behind my monitor, stacked on old books so they cleared the top of the screen. You can opt instead for a set of speaker stands for a cleaner, tidier look, but the books gave me more control over the exact height. Number 3. SteelSeries seems to be a brand turning its hand to basically anything when it comes to gaming peripherals and accessories. They already make an assortment of brilliant keyboards, mice, and headsets, so where's the next logical progression from there? I know, gaming speakers. Yes, you haven't read that description incorrectly, gaming speakers. They exist. And these aren't just crummy, small desktop units that have the energy and power of a wet flannel. The SteelSeries Arena 7 sound brilliant, I must say, although when you read into them further and find there's a $300 per 300 pounds asking price attached to them, things begin to make sense. But more on sound quality a little later on. The Arena 7 is actually the middle child in the brand's all-new Arena lineup of speakers. At the bottom end comes the Arena 3, which gives you the 2 main desktop units I have here. Upgrading to the Arena 7 adds a 6.5-inch subwoofer for extra rumble and low-end goodness. And finally, spending £550 per $550 brings the powers of 5.1-channel audio to PC gaming by adding rear and central speakers to the party. Of course, separate units are likely to provide better immersion than a single soundbar or set of speakers, but the real question is whether a set of gaming speakers is actually any good. Well, given that all-important prefix of gaming, attached to a set of speakers, it would be easy to assume that SteelSeries had cranked up the bass and left these to sound like a muddy mess. I'm pleased to report that most certainly isn't the case. The Arena 7 sounds rather good indeed, with a precise and detailed sound with excellent clarity to boot. It handled pretty much everything I chucked at it with ease, be it the smooth bass and synth combo of Genesis' It's Gonna Get Better, or the light, emotive tones of James Taylor's Lighthouse. A lot of the credit for such brilliant audio comes down to the fact the Arena 7's 6.5-inch subwoofer offered marvelous extension and rumble that made bass-heavy tracks such as Yes Roundabout a sumptuous listen, as well as also making gunfights in Counter-Strike, Yes, I Play with Bots, Please Don't Leave Angry Comments, all that bit more immersive. At times, the bass did admittedly become a little too much, but you can dial it down thanks to the handy knob on the back of the subwoofer itself. Speaking of immersion, the wide soundstage afforded by having distinctly separate audio channels made games more engaging, as well as music, and films, too. If you've got the space, the Arena the 7th may well be a formidable home theater setup, too. Moving away from audio quality and into the Arena 7's feature set also reveals something equally rich, especially with regards to the ways in which you can use the speakers. The back of the subwoofer reveals a lot of connectivity options, including USB Type-C for direct connectivity to PCs, as well as optical audio if you do want to hook them up to a TV, and a 3.5mm audio jack for use with other devices, as well as the ports for plugging the speakers themselves in. Things don't end there though, as the Arena 7 also supports wireless connectivity over Bluetooth. This is an absolute game changer for me, especially as I'll more often than not power down my PC and use my phone to listen to music or podcasts, and to have the ability to quickly pair my phone to the Arena 7 if I'd prefer a more immersive experience is excellent. Number 2. Speaking of AudioEngine, many users are familiar with it. However, it is not like JBL, Focal, Dynaudio, and other established manufacturers with decades of brand history. Yet, after AudioEngine founded its own professional audio company in 2006 and launched the first product, A5, this brand has more than 10 years have passed. During this period, AudioEngine's speakers and various audio products can be said to be very popular in Europe and the United States. Many of its products, including AudioEngine A5 wireless desktop speakers, have also received 5-star recommendations from the authoritative magazine. AudioEngine's reputation is based on its years of technical accumulation in the hi-fi audio field and its experience in providing audio technology support for Harman Kardon and Apple. Applying the technology to the household field has captured many audiophiles and some popular users with the introduction of cost-effective products. AudioEngine's A5 is considered the most representative of AudioEngine's home hi-fi speakers and the most cost-effective product among 5-inch speakers. Active speaker design, multifunctional interface, and lightweight cabinet make this speaker released a few years ago still the best choice for home active desktop speakers today. AudioEngine A5 is a pair of 5-inch woofer 2.0 speakers with a size of 27x18x20 cm, which can be regarded as a large size on the desktop level. The main speaker weighs 7 kg, and the auxiliary speaker weighs 4.4 kg. The A5 boxes are available in several beautiful finishes, including bamboo veneers and satin black and high-gloss white paint, offering a wide choice for complementing room furnishings. The materials are all wood, and the density is higher. The sound will be thicker than the plastic material. A unique baking process processes the speaker's surface, and the texture is perfect. The tweeter of AudioEngine A5 uses a 20mm silk dome tweeter. At the same time, AudioEngine is equipped with a neodymium magnet with almost the most potent magnetism for its tweeter. Therefore, when playing the high-frequency instrument part of music, this speaker has the warmth of silk dome tweeter and has a speedy response, exceptionally high density, and good overdone. The shape of the tweeter groove is not a standard circle but a unique arc to form a structure similar to an acoustic horn. This allows the tweeter to have better horizontal radiation and increases the openness of the tweeter. Besides, the silk dome tweeter's advantage is that the listening experience is soft and delicate, and the extensibility is good. The peak power of A5 can reach 150 W, which makes the auditory effect more shocking. Number 1. It's not often we are presented with a product such as the Klipsch The Fives. They're clearly a pair of stereo speakers, and yet we have to ask ourselves what they are actually for. That only happens when a product's feature list blurs the lines between hi-fi and TV sound, and also occasionally the morning after the What Hi-Fi Awards ceremony. Klipsch describes the Fives as a powered speaker system, which is about as specific as you can get. They can be used as a hi-fi system, either standalone or with a source plugged in, as desktop speakers, or indeed as a true stereo alternative to a soundbar thanks to the seemingly simple, but nonetheless shrewdly incorporated, HDMI ARC connection. Klipsch sees this as a potential driver for many customers adopting the Fives. And, as a publication that generally favors stereo speakers as an alternative to a comparatively priced soundbar, in terms of basic audio performance for the money, at least, we don't see anything wrong with that concept. This isn't due to a lack of focus on Klipsch's part, but part of the forward movement of the company as a whole. The company is trying to expand its reach, rather than simply throwing what it can at their speakers to see what sticks. Fives represent a step towards what Klipsch describes as a more global sound. The American tuning with which the brand is so familiar remains, but some of the leanings of the European and Asian markets, typically favoring delicacy over sheer scale, have been deliberately addressed. What we hear is not exactly the final destination, and there isn't, we're told, a particular sound at which Klipsch would like to arrive. But anyone on our side of the Atlantic who might have written the brand off for its sonic presentation could afford the brand a keener ear in the future. An open mind is preferable when approaching the Fives, as are some relatively deep pockets. At £839, $969, $1,599, they aren't going to be an impulse buy for many. That price tag places the Fives in roughly the same realm as the Naim Muse So QB, Sonos Arc and KEFLSX. The fact that those are three entirely different products only highlights just what a versatile product you're getting for the money. Its rivals depend entirely on how you plan to use them. There isn't really a direct competitor. In short, the Fives will connect to virtually anything. The HDMI ARC connection for TVs is joined by analog RCA, 3.5mm aux, digital optical and USB inputs. Bluetooth 5.0 is also present for simple wireless playback, while a subwoofer output allows for expansion.